Good morning, everyone on Women of Vision. I hope you're all having a great morning and you're enjoying some of this rain that we're getting. And I'm excited because I want to go snowboarding. I cannot wait to get some snow on Mount Shasta. Yay. So we're excited that you're a part of this amazing group that Marie's has put together for us. And it is growing so big, and we are so happy that she started it for us. I see that someone has joined us. Good morning.
Say hello. I'm going to try to pull up, here you guys are, pull up our live so I can see the comments, and since we can't see, we're too far away from the phone here. So that way we can answer any questions that you guys have that you might be having as you watch. I see people hopping on. I see Linda Fitzgerald is watching. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning, Linda.
And so say hello. You can hear my dog barking.
Hey,
Joys of life.
That's what Facebook Live is.
I see Tina is watching. Hi, Tina. So say good morning as you are hopping on so that we know that you're here. We're going to let this run just for about a minute so people jump on. Good morning, Maurice. Maurice is on. And I want to hear, though, because I saw in the last live video that you were going to the Health Expo, which was last weekend. How did that go?
The Health Expo was amazing. There were so many people that came through, different types of people that were looking for different things, so I loved that. And being across from our very own Rachel Freeman Sowers was pretty cool. We got to wave at each other once in a while and talk to each other. And I had a great response from the expo, so I highly recommend it if anyone wants to do it next year for their business. And thank you for stopping by and seeing us, those of you that are in our Women of Vision group. I got to meet Norma, which was awesome. She's a great lady.
That's awesome.
And
what would you say that people were looking for at the expo? You said lots of people were looking for different things. What was it a good fit for? What were people most interested in?
For what I was doing, they were really interested in the diabetes feature of the Hilo. So that's going to be a big thing that's coming out at the Consumer Electronics Show today.
Oh, that's really
in
neat.
Vegas. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really cool. I see Cami is on. I see Jamie is on. Hi, Jamie. I see we have 4 people watching now, so we're going to get started in just a minute. But today we're going to talk about harmonizing your business, family, and purpose, because I think that's really hard, especially all of us women in this group that have, good morning, families and kids, and we're trying to balance it all. And so I think that's been, I know, something that's been hard for me, being in business and then starting my own, for sure. How's it been for you?
Yeah, I've always had the challenge of how to market and start, but I'm learning more and more the more I listen to speakers on YouTube or whatever and reading books, so that's helpful.
It is. I'm going to let you go ahead and take over.
Okay. So thank you everyone again for hopping on and watching us this morning. We have Ashly McHatton here this morning that will go over how to harmonize your business, family life, and purpose. So I'll start by asking Ashly, how did you get into this type of
this business? So it's a story, and we have some time this morning. And so my story, I grew up in the Bay Area, went to school at Chico State, and then my degree is in philosophy, out of all things, which made me a fantastic bartender while I was in school. And then after college, got a job in operations management, and then moved back down to the Bay Area and got into corporate America, working down there. And then my side hustle was running and competing in ultramarathons. And so
wow.
Did that for a while, and then that passion kind of grew into coaching athletes also and starting that business. And then a few years into rebranding myself and restarting my life down in the Bay Area, my oldest son was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, And at the time, I was dating somebody that lived up here, and so it came down to who was starting whose career over. And so I won or lost that bet, depending on how you look at that. And so I was up here taking care of my son and trying to figure out, should I go back to school and get my master's? Should I, what can I do? What can I do every day? And every day that I was doing this, I was out with my camera taking pictures, and soon found O Street Gallery. They had just started, which is on the second floor of Oregon Street Antique Mall next to Woody's Brewery. And walked in there and kind of was like, okay, I feel like home. This feels like the Bay Area. It feels like I could fit in here. And I saw some of the local artists, their work up, and I was like, my work looks like this. And so got into that gallery, and then went up to Dunsmuir, got into that one, and then pretty soon started just photographing everything that I could get my hands on. And then what I loved the most, though, which is also what I loved about ultra marathons, was figuring out a way when things get hard. And because my son was sick, that was definitely the theme in our house, was we have to figure out a way. And whether the finish line is guaranteed or not, it's figuring out a way every step that you go to make something work. And so that's when I realized that what I really loved doing and who I loved photographing the most was the small businesses and the entrepreneurs that were also trying to find a way that felt called to do something, whether it was on the side or full time, and trying to get it to where they found a way.
And how did you get those businesses into your business?
Oh gosh. So when I was finishing up my degree, I was trying to find a job. I had just had my first son, the one that's ill, and was like, what am I going to do with a philosophy degree? I wasn't going to go into law school. I didn't want to be a doctor anymore. And so cold calling is what those businesses did. And my mom is a real estate agent down the Bay Area, so growing up, we'd literally go door to door passing out flyers for her, my brother, and I. And so I just went back to that, going, I'm just going to have to go ask for the business. And so I moved up here, and nobody knew me, and people knew my husband, but wasn't in a sort of personal setting where I could draw on that sort of network at all. And so it was really from going door to door and asking local businesses, can I shoot photography for you, and asking people I would love to photograph you. And it was really just going out there and asking.
So for people that have a hard time cold calling,
it's hard.
I know it's really hard.
I still shake and get nervous and get myself all worked up and sick.
How do you, what is your suggestion?
Oh, you just have to, I'm competitive, and so I find game theory to be really helpful. So apps, if you've ever done Weight Watchers or anything like that, they have point systems. So I usually set myself a goal of I want to reach out to 200 businesses. And my goal is to only contact 200 businesses. It's not to close any of them. And that way anything else is a bonus, because I have at least, by the end of 200 businesses, you've learned something. Either you're saying the wrong thing or you've gotten more business than you can handle. But taking the emotion out of it, because I so easily get my feelings attached to the rejection that I take it personally, and because it's my business, and so it's anytime that you can remove yourself out of it and make a game out of it.
Yeah, so
super helpful.
There's always rejection, I've been through that, and I've learned that you have to have rejection. If you don't, then you don't grow. So you have to learn to accept those no's and be okay with people that say no.
And I've learned from being able to talk my way into jobs that I should have said no to, or that they should have said no to me, to where it wasn't a fit, that it's usually a good thing when people say no, because as your business grows, at first when I was starting the photography side of it, I was taking any job that I could, thinking, maybe I'll really like stylized still life photography or something, which I could tell you now that I don't, and knew that at the time, but thought, I would just try everything, and it shows in your work, it shows in the service and the interaction when it's just a misfit. And so anytime that you can say, just next in your head, and this wasn't for me, and to really just try not to care, And then the other thing is to only go after businesses that you're excited about, because that's been my theme for the last 18 months is I'm only contacting the people that I want to get the yeses from.
Right.
And I mean, my close rate's 9 out of 10. So
wow, that's really good.
Which is good, and it's just because I feel excited and I just trust that like it's either gonna be a fit or it's not the right time, and I'll just keep asking them.
And how long did it take you before you started getting 9 out of 10? I mean, did it take you a while?
I don't know. Like some people, like Marie's in this group, I think has her superpower of bringing people together. I think I'm just good at asking, and so it's been like 7 out of 10 before, and then so good. I've always I just know, and I also know like myself, and so like I always target businesses of like the places I would want to shop or connect with or like, and because of old jobs that I have, from bartending to waitressing to food service to corporate, like I know enough industries to be able to know which ones I want to work with and fit in. So yeah. Just like we've talked about your photography, and types of photography that you like to do, there's just certain ones that you get excited about.
Exactly.
Way easier to target those than the businesses that you don't like, because not that it wouldn't be a good match, it's just
you want to.
If you're going to go through the trouble of cold calling, like which is hard enough, like you should have the end result be something that's exciting to work with, because there's nothing worse than getting a whole bunch of rejection and then getting a client that you're like can't wait to be over with, because might as well just go get a regular job.
Yeah, exactly. So those of you that are watching, if you can comment below.
I see Tracy's here, and Haley, good morning, ladies.
Let us know if you have any questions about what Ashly's mentioned so far, and maybe we can get to a couple of those questions before the live is over.
Yeah. Been on here a while.
So, do we have anyone so far asking any questions?
I don't see any questions. I see a lot of good mornings, which is great.
I hope you're all having a great morning. It's the weather is a little gloomy, but we're glad to have the rain.
It, though. I think it's romantic. It's good photography weather, like clear, no harsh shadows.
I know, I'm a sun person. I like to be in the sun.
I'm a fog person.
Oh.
I love it. But we wanted to talk about, again, harmonizing your purpose in your business. And I think we talked briefly before the live that there's this misconception, I think, of the word balance. And I love working. And so for me, where some people put their family first, I like work. I'm not more than my family, but it's really important to me. So finding the right recipe for each person, I think, is really hard to do and not feel guilty about, because I feel a lot of mom guilt when I'm working and I'm invested in my time in there, and then when I'm with my kids, I'm then thinking about neglecting my clients, and then it's like I'm supposed to have a social life and have friends that I call, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
That's what I've had a hard time with, is wanting to be with my kids more, and then I don't work on my business. So having, I think, a calendar or something, like hour by hour of what you have to do, whether it's getting ready for the morning, feeding your kids, getting them out the door, have a time slot for each one, and then what hour are you going to work on your business? What are you going to do?
And have it be, like, I do the same thing where I kind of block out these time chunks, but I also change it up weekly, and so that way, if it feels off, like that it's still flexible, that I still am the one in control of my schedule and my life, and that if something comes up where my family needs more attention, then they get it, or if I want to give them more attention, or heck, if I need more attention, like,
have a glass of wine.
I know, or two of them can have it. And so I would love to hear if you guys are struggling with this at all, or what questions you might have around that, because I know it's hard to find the right harmony when it comes to this in your business and trying to make time. And I see the same thing where if I don't, constantly feed energy into my business, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there's nothing on the schedule for March. Like, shoot.
And it's your fault, not anybody else's.
Nobody else's fault. Dang it. I hate that part. So it's my dog's fault.
Yeah.
And so it's just really hard to, again, negotiate all those things to where you're feeding everything enough energy to sustain, and at the end of the day that you have the life that you look back like, this is how I want it to look and what I want, I think is really difficult.
Yeah. So I know some of us have a hard time with like how to do that, how to harmonize. Where do you start? Like, I don't know.
So I'm like a list person and like a visual person. So for me, I like to have it written out to where at the beginning of every year, and this is just after New Year's, so it's a great time to do it. I kind of take stock of my life and I look like, is my business going the direction that I want? Do I still want it to go in that direction? Because where I wanted last year is very different than what I wanted this year. And so I kind of say like, okay, if this is what I want this year to look like, and I map it out even 3 years ahead, because I like to know. And again, not that it's guaranteed, but I like to map it out and know, and then I kind of break it down backwards. Like, if this is what my home life looks like, here's what my work life looks like, here's what my personal life looks like, how does my day, like, what, and if I was already being that person, what does that look like now? So like if I'm wanting to get back to competing and running again by the end of the year, that doesn't mean that I get to have my mochas like in the morning as often like now. And so because that person wouldn't have them at all probably. And so I kind of restructure it that way, and then really just make a list. And then if, you know, you don't have to be so regimented, it's just writing it down and kind of having it in front of you, and then you can kind of tweak things. And I revisit mine every week and just map out what my cold calling is for the week, my marketing plan is for the week, and then I even look, am I carving out enough time this week for my family? Sometimes the answer is no. Do I have something planned for them ahead? If not, I need to do that, and making sure that I'm building everything in with my vision for the long term, because that year comes and goes so quickly, and then pretty soon you didn't reach half of your goals, and then you're kicking yourself for it.
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea to like tally how many, you know, when you do your cold calling, tallying that and seeing how many you got this week versus last week, and maybe up how many you're calling.
Oh, yeah. So for back to the cold calling, so again, like I like to set a number, and like some like crazy big number, because it makes the going after 10 calls less scary because you're trying to get to 200. So again, like for me, it just helps to diffuse it emotionally. And then I absolutely track it. And again, it goes back to making a game out of it, because what you'll see happens, it usually takes about 90 days for it to happen, is that all the efforts from 30 days, even if you get no's, by the time that you're still kind of showing up and doing the work, at the end of 60, if you don't have business, you're going to at least know what's not working. Either you're offering a service that nobody wants, you're communicating it wrong. But if it's one of those things, usually within 30 days, you're going to start tweaking your message when you try things and finding it. But by the end of that 90-day period, you're going to see all of the results from that first 30 days start to come back, where people will be watching you, because a lot of times businesses come and go so quickly. People just want to know if you're going to stick around, or maybe they're not ready for you because they have family and life and it's not on their priority list.
So I think she's saying it doesn't happen overnight.
No, I hate that part.
It's like preparing for a marathon. Right?
Yes. Tina says, I love the game idea. I'm still nervous cold calling. I'm always nervous, Tina. That I wish I could give you a remedy for. It doesn't go away. But if you turn it into a game, I like to make kind of like a scorecard and say like how many calls I did. And then at the end of and do that first, because if you wait till the end of the day, you just won't do it at all. Yeah. Because like you don't want to. It's like going to the dentist to get a root canal. It's like, you know, you might have to, but you should. And there's all these good reasons. But if you don't just schedule it and get it over with,
and it's a mind thing too, your mindset. So have in your mind that you're the CEO of your company and you're the boss, and you're interviewing these people. You're not asking them to do something, right? You're kind of interviewing them, and so
I look at branding, marketing like dating. It's we're selling to other people. It's a relationship. You don't go on a date with somebody that you don't want to date, because what if they want to date you again? And you're like, same thing. You're like, oh God, like this client's calling me again, like. And you're just like, you go out again, and you're like, okay, like maybe they'll go away, but that person will end up like loving you, and like you it's not a
really
good
don't.
fit. Yeah, you're like,
So
ew,
be
no.
upfront.
Right, and the same's true. Sometimes you're like, oh my god, I want this client so bad, and they're like, it's not a fit. But then you just keep going on dates. You keep making those calls, and you find the right match over and over and over again. And so knowing that, and really like, also I think because it is such a mindset and a game thing, that you have to believe that what you're doing, first of all. Like, you're here to help people, and so if you believe like that what you have to offer is actually helping the other person, then you're there to help them. And if they don't want your help, then they're not ready for it, and that's okay. But you have to, and I think Rachel said something similar to this, like, you have to trust that. And if you don't believe yet in your value and your service, you're gonna have a really hard time selling it. But the only way to get through that is practicing. It's just like running, where like I never thought that I would ever run 50 miles, like, ever, and never thought I would even want to. I can't even say that I still wanted to back then, but you don't start like with that goal in mind. You're like, I'm just gonna try to go out walking for 20 minutes a day and see where that leads.
Come out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and just like, and you just keep showing up even when it's hard, because it's hard.
When you come out of your comfort zone, I believe that pushes you to do more and become better and become more. So you want to try something every day to come out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, so Tina said it's nice knowing that it's not just her. Yeah, it's not like cold calling. I think there are a few special unicorns in this world that thrive on that stuff, but I think for most people, even top salespeople, it's just, it's uncomfortable, and that's why everybody wants warm leads. But how do you get that? It's still going out to events, being part of groups like this, to where you create those environments, because it's difficult. And then Tracy says, with the entrepreneur becoming so prevalent these days and utilizing social media, how do you make yourself stand out among others doing the same thing? I'll answer that in a second, Tracy. And then Linda Fitzgerald asks, I like to think of those first interactions with people as if I'm planting seeds. It takes time to build relationships. Play for the long game, not for the quick win. Exactly. Absolutely.
Building it over rapport.
Yep. And again, it's just like I think the same is like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Like, you can't start 100-mile race even, or any sort of endeavor or business, like, thinking about the finish line, because no matter how well you're set up, that's never guaranteed, no matter how trained you are, so you just focus on, I'm just going to make it to the next tree, the next block, the next thing. And with people too, if again you look at it like you're building relationships with people, that's why I think the dating analogy is so good. You're going to hopefully be in a relationship with these people for the long game, whether it's photography, like you're going to be capturing people's life events and their children's life events, like for hopefully generations. And so you don't want the one time when, you want that lifelong thing. I'd rather wait 3 months to have that relationship instead of having the quick, mini session and then lose them, right, because I was just doing it for the money and then I forgot to serve them. But Tracy says, so how do you stand out among people doing others the same thing? And I think the key to that is figuring out what makes you different first, and why you love doing this, and then turning your blinders on to not looking, like, be aware of what others are doing in your industry and how they're doing it, and kind of borrow and steal some of the things that you like about them. But then I think it's figuring out, I know like how I approach branding and marketing, I definitely bring that sort of structure and strategy from the ultra running world, and I use it in business to kind of lay things out clearly so people have a training plan, if you will, and a roadmap so that they can see it. But I didn't know that was something that anybody thought was interesting until going to these events and talking to people, that was always like the one piece about me people thought was like so cool. I was like, it's weird, like what? But that's the stuff that people liked, and so it's usually, I would say, like, show off your weird. It's those things about you that you probably think are weaknesses that are actually your strengths, and knowing that your client, your best clients, are probably people more like you. So like, what would you want to hear? Like, what did you need to hear a month ago, last week? Those are the things that will resonate with the right people. And I think that's the things that's going to make the biggest difference. And other things that you can do, I mean, there's always going to be some new shiny objects and like Instagram stories, video, like Facebook Live, like there's always tools to help distribute your message out into the world, but it's your message that's what makes you unique. And it's super cliche, but most people are trying so hard to sound like everybody else and look like everybody else so they can fit in.
Yeah,
that's how you become invisible.
Yeah, I believe you need to get people to know you, like you, and trust you.
For
if
sure.
they don't know, like, and trust, then they're not going to join you or want to be a part of your business.
No, not at all. And it's, hold on, and Jamie says, how do you let people know when you don't want to work with them? So that's hard. I never actually had to have that conversation. That's not true. I usually say to people that I usually just tell them it's not a good fit, or this is what I can do for you right now, kind of a thing. What do you do when it's not a good? Have you had that?
Well, I just say, it seems like this isn't something that would truly be for you. Like it's not a fit for you, and I don't want to say that it's going to be a good fit for you because you may end up not liking what you're doing, and so then you'll be wasting your time, basically.
Yeah, and I've usually, like, by the time that, like, it gets to where we're having, like, the pricing conversation and, like, here's what it's going to look like to work with me for, like, 3 months, 6 months, a year, it doesn't even usually get to that conversation before.
I haven't had very many.
Yeah, and it's usually
to deal with.
Yeah, I can't say. I know that doesn't really answer your question very well, but it's like Jamie, I know, is a real estate agent in this area, and it's just I can't think of it like a real estate example, but for me personally, I think it's usually when it comes to the pricing conversation, it's usually kind of like, here's what it is, and those people will usually will say like, well, I'm only willing to pay X amount, and then that's when I say I can't do that.
What I do actually is I have a list of people I refer to, and that they're okay with referring if it's not something that I would do.
Yeah, that's great. Is refer to other people. And then, is there any other questions? We've been on here a while.
Yeah, we're doing.
I know, it's nice.
Thank you guys for watching.
I see Jennifer Lynn is on. I see Carrie Lane Everett Fisher is on. I see Carrie, how do you say her last name? Medell. Lisa Malgry is watching.
So I have a question for
you.
Since you're a marketing strategist, who is your favorite mentor or speaker that you like to listen to?
Oh, so I believe that I get my inspiration from people outside my industry. Because I think that's where innovation comes, is like gluing together a few different industries. Jessica French says, hello, beautiful ladies. Hello, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
So there's a few that I love to follow. So for marketing and brand strategy, Gary Vaynerchuk, who I found initially pretty abrasive because he swears and he's loud. But I also like that he's like, go out and do the work. And that's always what I tell, just go out and get the jobs. And then we can talk. Like, I can't, most people want the magic bullet and they want the overnight success, and it doesn't happen. Like, you can have some overnight traction and growth and be profitable in a short period of time, but to become Oprah, like, it doesn't happen overnight. Like,
right.
35 years in the making.
Exactly.
And so I love following him. Who else do I love? So I love Creative Live and Chase Jarvis, and there's a free series on Creative Live called 30 Days of Genius that I adore, that he interviews Richard Branson and Damon John. I've gone to see like Damon John speak several times, and so just putting myself in other events, like Ramit Sethi, he's a financial blogger, so I've gone to his events every year. So just putting myself in events with other like-minded people that are in lots of different industries, I found to be the most inspiring, but also give me the best ideas and also then the best connections to when I'm working with, let's say, an entrepreneur in New York. I now have a team of people that are global to where we can all work together, and then I'm the one that just gets to show up and execute our plan, which is really fun.
And how do you do that? Is it all on Facebook?
It's
phone?
Through a lot of it's through Skype and virtual stuff, and then they'll have if there's one of my favorite stylists lives in Norway, and so she will work with people virtually online. And there's another one that Beth, who is in one of my groups, that's in Canada, and so she'll help people go through their closets ahead of time before our photo shoots together.
Oh, cool.
And then we all kind of meet together as a team, like, does this match this person's vision brand? And so they get kind of at that high-end service and package.
Oh, that's really cool.
And then it makes their photo day, because a lot of people are nervous together. Like, I hate getting my picture taken. I think everybody kind of worries about it, but that way it makes like the day of the photo shoot like fun, and you actually look forward to it, and that comes across in the final product too. And so,
absolutely, yeah.
So that's what I go to, people that I follow. And I think Chase, his podcast, I listen to weekly whenever there's a new one.
Chase, what's his last
Jarvis.
name? Chase Jarvis.
Yes, and then Creative Live. I love that. Again, it's a free series, and then I take lots of their classes and go down to their workshops. They have ones in San Francisco and Seattle, so I go there whenever I get invited. That is one that I recommend for a shot in the arm, just because he constantly preaches, like, whatever you want to do, go out and make it, and then find the work and just go out and do it. Like, there's nothing stopping you from getting the clients you want, the business you want, except for doing the hard work of the cold calling and just doing it, which is hard.
That's one thing I hear people say a lot is they're just afraid. It's a fear thing that they get that comes over them. And I think that's why a lot of women or people don't succeed in business, is they're afraid.
It doesn't go away. I mean, I wish I could tell you. And what I found, like, I've interviewed a few people about this, is that it means that you care. I mean, that's a good thing. So anytime you're afraid, that means that it matters to you. And that's and then I just turn it into Mel Robbins is somebody that I also follow, and she's like, anytime that she goes on before speaking, she just tells herself, I'm not afraid, I'm excited. And so she starts telling herself, like, as she's about to go on stage, like, I'm excited.
Yeah, I did hear that. Is that Tony Robbins' wife?
No,
okay,
it's,
I've heard that
but
before,
I'm sure they use it too, and I found that trick to work, that I just tell myself now before, like, because I really am excited, and I'm nervous because I'm afraid of the rejection, but once I get past that, like, I'm like, this project would be so fun, like, here's all the ideas that I know I could do, and this would be really exciting, because the fear, it just doesn't go away, but it just means that you care, and I think that that's a great thing.
Again, it's the mindset.
It's all
just making yourself excited instead of scared.
And just know, like, again, like, running or training, like, you have to train to go run the race, and you guys are all doing that. You're all training and preparing yourselves for ways, like, you just never know how your weird creative things are going to help your business. Tina asks where the event is on the 13th, which is great.
It's at the Heritage.
It is. It's at the Heritage in Shasta Lake. I still think you can buy the tickets for the event in the group page. I know it's posted, and then on this link too, you can buy a ticket.
We'll make sure to post it when we're done in the comments for you.
Yep, and then you can sign up for that if you want to attend that too. And Carrie says, I love Mel Robbins. She's great. If you haven't read or listened to her, you can watch her TED Talk. I forget what her TED Talk was called, but her book is called The 5-Second Rule. And it's a great sort of hack. I think even that's what she calls it, to get over your fear and just go do it. I mean, that's, I always look, life is so short and precious, and we get reminded that sometimes too often. And that's when we finally take action. And, like, I know when I get to the end of my life, whether that's tomorrow or hopefully 80 years from now, which I'll be really crusty then, but, like, 'cause I'm only 16. No, but that I will be happy that I took all the chances, because I mean, I can't, and again, it's going to sound cliche, I've never regretted taking chances. I've regretted how I reacted to them in situations. I wish I could have done better, but I'm always proud that I took the chance, that I asked for the job, even if I got the no, that I did it, because so many businesses fail because they weren't strong enough to ask. And again, it's like, it's the hardest part.
Yeah. Don't sit in a hole your whole life.
No, it's just like, you know, and again, like to go back to Tracy, it's, even if somebody's selling the same thing, I mean, there's other people selling like Kilo watches, and there's other people doing branding and marketing. It's, somebody needs it from you in the way that you say it, because it's going to resonate with them, where other people are going to need somebody else. And
if you don't like start to learn it the right way, they're going to go somewhere else.
They will, and that's, and you don't want that, and they don't want that too. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
So, and there's, you know, I always look at it too. There's plenty of work for everybody, and it's, I mean, I never thought when I started this job up here that I'd even be able to make it work and find my way. And you know, I had never done it for myself. I'd always had the sort of safety of the corporate job and structure, and I mean, in a short time, I was able to make something out of nothing. And so you just have to say, like, I'm gonna go do this thing. And I mean, it's, that's the easy part. It's just the going to do it. It's the hard part, and it gets hard.
Yeah. So in one simple sentence, can you say how you harmonize business and purpose and family? Or is
Tequila.
Tequila.
I one simple sentence, how you harmonize it.
Or a paragraph.
You just have to know yourself and what you really want, and unapologetically go after that. And if that means more time for work and less time with family and some time for yourself, or however that looks, you have to be honest with yourself first, because
just kind of figure it out.
Because then, I mean, there's so many other obstacles to deal with that you just have to be okay with what you're doing, because everybody else in that, amongst the voices in your head, will tell you that it's not. So at least be on your own team.
Yeah, listen to your subconscious.
And yourself, and just know what you want. And if you don't know, that's your first task, is figuring that out, which will take a while, and then you'll figure it out, and then you'll forget it again, and then
so Ashly's workshop, New Year, New Revenue, coming January 13th.
It's a Saturday.
Yeah, wow, already. Saturday, I'll be going, and I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to be going over some branding, clarifying your message, hopefully in a nice one sentence with some time, and then creating your marketing around that, and then your social media plan to go and market your business, and give yourselves the checklist to go out there and do the cold calling if that's what you need to do. Not everybody needs to do that, but I definitely see, if you're one of those people that needs money in business now, there's no faster way than just go out there and ask for it, because somebody else is. So again, might as well beat them.
Right, and if you've already done a workshop, something like this, you might learn something new. It takes listening and doing something more than once, as we know, to pick up something new each time. So
Tina says she's going. Jennifer Lynn says she's going to go.
Good. I know we have quite a few, and if you haven't register today. And make sure you get a spot. Do we have a limited number of seats?
No, we can. Well, I think there's 25 people that it can hold, and there should still be a few spots at the door. It is a 4-hour workshop, so bring somebody. There's going to be food, obviously, at Heritage for you to buy yourselves during breaks. I would love to know ahead of time, once I see the registration come through. What day is it today? Tuesday? So probably Thursday I'll be reaching out to you guys individually to send you a few things and to ask you a few questions, so that way we can kind of dive in and go over each of your businesses.
You'll send a workbook or something like that?
I am going to send a workbook, but I'm probably also going to print it out for you guys, and then I'm going to have a couple workbooks for you guys to fill in. But bring pens, paper, any sort of caffeine supplements in addition to the caffeine that they'll have there that you might need. But it's all about your businesses that day, and so come with whatever your questions are, and we're going to draw out your plan and plug it all in and show you some of the tools and strategies that are going to be best for your businesses. Linda says, thank you for creating this Facebook Live. Thank you, Linda. And check out Linda's. I've stalked your website, Melinda. I love it. That's it. If you guys don't have any questions, I'll be looking on the thread later. You can also find me in the group, or I think several of you I'm already Facebook friends with. So if you guys have questions for either of us, feel free to ask.
And this is episode 3, and thank you, Ashly, for your
thank
time
you.
today.
This was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So if you would like to do a Facebook Live for your business, or just by promoting a workshop or talking about something like Ashly
your
did,
story and how
your story,
how your vision. I mean, you're part of this group. I think we'd all.
You can contact Maurice for that, and
Get you on the calendar.
I'll get you scheduled for that. So we don't have to do these lives together like this. We can do them remotely as well. So, but it is fun in person. But
otherwise, you're inside in our holes all day. You decide not to this day.
That's true. But if you just can't,
But
make
remote
it
is
away,
also really cool.
we can do a quick live for you. So I hope you all have a beautiful day, and hope to see you on Saturday at the workshop.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good morning.